Logan wakes up in the back of a limo, groggy and disheveled. It's the middle of the night. He stumbles out and finds a Mexican gang trying to steal the limo's wheels. Logan calmly attempts to intervene, but one of the gang members blasts him with a shotgun. Standing up, Logan reveals his claws, an act that is evidently painful. He fights the gang, receiving his share of abuse as they beat him down, but manages to brutally maim and kill most of them before the rest run away. The year is 2029. Looking no older than 50, Logan still ages to over 170 years and is no longer the same fighter he once was. His superhuman healing ability is failing, and the adamantium in his body is slowly killing him. As a result, his body aches, and he coughs up blood on occasion. Logan now makes a living driving for a limo service in El Paso, Texas, under his birth name, James Howlett. While he waits for a client at a funeral, he is approached by a woman named Gabriela Lopez. She claims to know who he is and asks for his help, but Logan turns her away. Gabriela drives off as a young girl in the back seat stares at Logan. One morning, a man enters Logan's limo, introducing himself as Donald Pierce. He appears to know much about Logan, saying he's aware of his unofficial participation in the killing of the gang members. Pierce says he knows Logan was contacted by a person of interest and claims that he only wants what Gabriela has, something she took from him. He hands Logan a card and tells him to call when he finds Gabriela again. The card reads that Donald is head of security at Alkali Transigen, a biotechnological corporation. Logan heads into Mexico to an abandoned plant where he and the clairvoyant mutant Caliban, an albino psychic, are taking care of Xavier. Charles has been reduced to a shell of his former self, crippled and suffering from a degenerative brain disease which produces seizures. Thanks to his mutation, the seizures produce staggering psionic blasts that paralyze anyone within reach. Logan must administer a special serum to keep Xavier's episodes under control, though the doses often leave him confused and senile. Xavier has become broken since the loss of his school and fellow X-Men some time ago, and says that Logan is just waiting for him to die. Logan argues with Caliban about obtaining enough medicine for Xavier. Caliban explains that it's hard caring for Xavier, especially when Logan won't communicate about his own needs, which are more than evident to the albino. Logan storms off. Later, he receives a notification for 2 passengers and drives to a motel. There, he comes across Gabriela again with the young girl, whom Gabriela says is her 11-year-old daughter, Laura. She offers Logan $50,000 to help them reach a place called Eden in North Dakota en route to Canada, before handing him an envelope with coordinates written on it and $20,000 inside. Logan reluctantly agrees and heads home to prepare. There, he tells Xavier that their dream of leaving and buying a boat may actually become reality. However, when he returns to the motel, he finds that Gabriela has been murdered and Laura's missing. Logan takes Gabriela's cell phone and finds she was in the process of sending him a text telling him to hurry, as they've been found. Logan returns home dejected, but is stunned to find that Laura has stowed away in the trunk of his limo. Xavier excitedly hosts the young girl and tries to convince Logan that she needs their help. However, Logan correctly predicts that she'll be found, and soon enough, Pierce comes knocking at their door. Logan claims Laura is not there, and when Pierce persists, Laura throws a pipe at his head, knocking him out. Logan tells Caliban to take Pierce out into the desert and leave him there. Caliban dresses heavily to protect his sensitive skin from the sun and carts Pierce's body away. But a squad of elites from Transigen, the Reavers, arrive. They pick up Pierce and capture Caliban. The Reavers return to the plant, and 2 enter to retrieve Laura, who is calmly eating a bowl of cereal, while Logan and the others wait outside. They all hear commotion from inside, including screams and gunfire. Laura appears, throwing the head of one of the Reavers at Pierce's feet. She then steps forward, producing 2 adamantium claws from each of her hands and 1 from each foot, and viciously attacks the Reavers. A stunned Logan finally helps her fight and flees the scene in the limo, with Xavier and Laura in the back seat. Caliban is taken by the Reavers and tortured with sunlight in order to get him to use his powers to track the trio. Logan demands to know who Laura is, and Xavier responds that she is very much like him. Logan looks through Gabriela's phone for clues and finds a video that reveals that she used to work for Transigen in the genetics department. However, the phone dies before the video can finish. They stop at a convenience store to stock up on supplies. The clerk attempts to stop Laura from shoplifting some chips and sunglasses, but she easily flips him over and nearly claws him before Logan intervenes. He then takes a phone charger and a cigar and leaves. That night, as the phone charges, Logan watches the rest of Gabriela's video. She had documented her role as a nurse in the genetic experimentation of new mutant children, led by Dr. Xander Rice with the intention of turning them into super soldiers. Using DNA from known mutants, most of whom were deceased, the children were conceived and born to anonymous mothers who would not be missed. In the video's final moments, Gabriella admits that she is not Laura's mother, but loves her all the same. Addressing Logan, she apologizes for lying about the total fee that she would pay him, but hopes that, as her biological father, he will keep her safe. The trio enters Oklahoma City and takes residence in a hotel, where Logan discovers that Laura has been reading an X-Men comic book. He finds that the coordinates to Eden are included in the book and is convinced that the whole trip is a charade. Angry, he confronts Laura to Xavier's disdain and tells her the X-Men stories she's been reading are fantasized and that Eden does not exist. Logan leaves Xavier and Laura in their room and goes downstairs, where he sees that the Reavers have followed them. Suddenly, everyone becomes paralyzed, and Logan realizes Xavier is suffering another seizure. Having ever been the only one able to partially resist the effects, Logan struggles to make it back to the room where some of the Reavers have already found Laura and Xavier. Logan kills them all before injecting Xavier with his serum, ending the paralysis, and the three escape in a new vehicle. On the road, a report goes over the incident in Oklahoma City and relates the similarity to an event that occurred in Westchester 1 year prior. But Logan turns off the radio. They are nearly run off the road by a robotic freight truck and swerve to avoid a pickup hauling a trailer full of horses. Xavier convinces Logan to help and uses his telepathic powers to bring the horses back. The driver introduces himself as Will Munson, accompanied by his wife Catherine and son Nate. Logan then helps push their pickup out of a ditch. Catherine offers Logan and his family to have dinner with them, which Xavier happily accepts. Logan is eager to leave immediately after dinner, but Catherine offers to spend the night as it's late. Logan only agrees for Xavier's sake and carries him upstairs to bed. Seeing that their water supply has been tampered with, Will goes out to investigate, and Logan tags along. They find and fix the obvious leak at the pump, some distance away, and are confronted by a group of thugs led by a man who owns the land. He harasses Will, saying he's been skimping on payments, but Logan hits one of the thugs in the face with his own rifle and breaks it over his knee, scaring them off. Back at the house, Xavier lies in bed and senses Logan entering the room. He tearfully pleads with him to be patient with Laura, asleep on the floor beside him, and expresses regret and remorse over what happened a year ago. It is implied that Xavier suffered a massive seizure at his school in Westchester, which resulted in the deaths of most of the X-Men. He apologizes, but Logan pushes his claws through Xavier's chest. Laura attacks in Charles's defense. The attacker turns out to be a mindless and merciless clone of Logan, the X-24. The mutant abducts Laura and slaughters Nate and Catherine. Upon returning, Will is struck down by the X-24, and Logan rushes upstairs to get Xavier, who is just barely alive. Logan consoles him. "It wasn't me," as he carries him downstairs. Outside, the Reavers wait with Pierce and Dr. Rice. Caliban is confined in a surveillance van. The thugs who abused Will before arrive at the house in retaliation for their earlier humiliation, but X-24 kills them all. Logan sets Xavier down in the bed of a pickup truck. Charles utters the name of their boat and dies. Bereaved, Logan engages X-24 in a furious fight. Meanwhile, Caliban fights back against his captors and sets off 2 grenades, muttering the phrase his mother once told him, "Beware the light." The van explodes and Pierce is thrown out while Rice escapes. Logan is nearly overpowered by the X-24 until Will rams into the mutant with his truck, pinning him against some farm equipment. Will repeatedly shoots X-24 with a shotgun and then turns the gun on Logan. The gun is out of shots and Will collapses, dead. Logan retrieves Laura and takes her with Xavier's body and drives away. The following morning, Dr. Rice and his crew take care of the scene and inject X-24 with a serum to help him heal. Logan buries Charles in an unmarked grave in the woods while Laura watches. Afterwards, he goes back to their truck and begins smashing it in fury before passing out. Later, Logan wakes up in a clinic. The doctor tells Logan he knows he's a mutant and says he wants to help him, aware that the adamantium in his body is killing him. Logan refuses and leaves with Laura. He begrudgingly thanks her, and she finally speaks by responding, "De nada," "You're welcome" in Spanish. Logan is perplexed as to why she never spoke before, but Laura begins rattling off in Spanish the names of her friends from Transigen. She tells Logan they must meet up with them in Eden and presses him with such persistence that Logan finally concedes, but only to prove Eden doesn't exist. The two just barely make it, and Logan is drained to the point of unconsciousness, so much so that Laura had to drive the remaining miles there. At a cliff, a lift is dropped for Logan so they can ascend, and he and Laura are finally able to rest along with the remaining children, led by Richter. The kids prank Logan by shaving his beard in his sleep to more closely resemble how he looked in his youth, but Logan is not amused. Richter gives Logan a serum that was used on them in Transigen to help him re-energize and heal, but he warns Logan not to use it all at once. Logan then tells Laura that he's done his job in delivering her to Eden and emotionally explains that everyone he cares about dies, and it's better if he leaves. Laura bitterly responds that she should be fine then. In the morning, the children are gone, and Logan is about to leave when he sees that the Reavers have caught up to them, tracking the children. Logan runs to intercept them as the Reavers pick off the children one by one. Despite using their powers, the children are outnumbered. Injecting all of the healing agent at once, Logan kills most of the Reavers and confronts Dr. Rice, who has rounded up the children and is holding them at gunpoint. Rice reveals that he is actually the son of the man killed by Wolverine when he escaped the Weapon X project. Rice admits responsibility for the extinction of mutants, thanks to a virus developed by Transigen that was seeped into food supplies. Before he can continue, Logan shoots him dead in a desperate move and goes after Pierce. However, X-24 is released, and Logan fights his clone once more. Seeing that Pierce is in complete control of X-24, the children gang up on him and use their collective powers, electrocution, freezing, plant manipulation, to kill him. As the healing agent in Logan's body wears off, he becomes overpowered by his younger clone until X-24 finally impales Logan on a dead tree limb. Laura then uses the adamantium bullet Logan carried with him to shoot X-24 in the head, obliterating it. She runs to Logan and cuts him down from the tree, but Logan's wounds aren't healing. Logan tearfully tells Laura to run with the others. She cries, calling him Daddy, and Logan responds, "So, this is what it feels like," before he dies. The children bury Logan and raise a cross at the head of the grave. The children then leave, their future uncertain but free. Laura takes the cross on Logan's grave and tilts it sideways to look like an X.